Thank you very much. What a wonderful acknowledgement of Kaurna country delivered by a wonderful man indeed. It's like the Mutual Appreciation Society, but Dr. Lynn Arnold is certainly an inspiration to me and many others here in South Australia. I also, on behalf of the government, would like to acknowledge Kaurna country and Kaurna elders. It was and always will be Kaurna land, and pay my respects to elders past, present, future, and any Kaurna people and people from other countries, First Nations, that are here today. It is my pleasure to be the much improved and updated version of the Premier and the Health Minister, Jack Snelling, here today. I jumped at the opportunity to address a room full of people who have constantly inspired me and provided me with great comfort, not only receiving patients in the hospital setting, but travelling out with you on the road or in the air. I saw Dr. Andrew Pearce walk in. I can't see in front of the first table, so you can pull faces and do whatever you like to me because I'm blind as a bat past the first table. But yes, I did ask him to leave while I speak. Dr. Andrew Pearce, I remember from many years ago during my training, and also as part of MedStar Retrieval Service, I did one of the first shifts there. I was sharing some of my reflections on that out in the foyer. It wasn't such a pleasant day, that first day at MedStar, let me tell you. I know things have improved somewhat, but you still go out to see some of the most awful things happen to some of the most beautiful people. Dr. Arnold has already explained my motivation to join the parliamentary world as an advocate and a voice for young people and families, and indeed all community members in Parliament, in terms of being able to provide some insights and some appetite for change around social and cultural issues that we face in our state of South Australia and indeed the nation. Registered nurse, intensive care nurse, retrieval nurse and other things. And you can take the nurse out of the hospital, but you can't take the hospital out of the nurse. And being that nurses are, again, voted the most respected profession in the world, the AMBOs are very close. I just don't think people understand what AMBOs are sometimes on the questionnaire, so I'm sure we're up there equal in standing to now being a politician. Well, yes, indeed. I think I'll stay being called a nurse. Thank you. I will acknowledge special guests who have joined us in the audience, and because I got super distracted with all the wonderful new toys and gadgets out in the foyer, which I thought some of the machinery, some of the equipment is just some of the most interesting, fantastic work, user-friendly gear that I've seen. I just was introduced to our robotic CPR. I just can't believe the nights I spent in a helicopter attached to a carabiner or two doing compressions for 20 minutes and how you'd get up the next morning out of bed and you'd still have the little triangulated metal shapes from the floor deeply embedded not just into your skin and tissue but into your patellas. Not just for that day, but for many more, and you'd go out perhaps to sport training and people say, what is that on your knees? Don't worry about it. You know, it happened in the weather. It's all good. Dr. Michael Sayre from the Seattle Resuscitation Academy Board, Mark Whitbread, Consultant Paramedic, NHS, Ross Coburn, Chair, Council of Ambulance Authorities, Board Members, Council of Ambulance Authorities, David Waters, Chief Executive, Council of Ambulance Authorities, of course, the Honourable Reverend Dr. Lynn Arnold, who is the MC, and Keith Driscoll, Executive Director, SA Ambulance, and importantly, all the people who do the business every day in, day out, no matter what the conditions. Thank you very much. The GRA campaign to save more victims of sudden cardiac arrest has been a long time in the making. Nearly 27 years ago, in the Utstein Abbey, Norway, an international gathering of medical experts agreed on recommended guidelines for the uniform reporting of out-of-hospital cardiac arrests. Commitment to the cause, combined with steady momentum, has seen the development of a number of innovative programs, and the group of you here, along with other healthcare professionals, are some of the most progressive people when it comes to adopting change, because we know that small changes can make such a huge difference. The GRA's goal is to advance resuscitation by accelerating community implementation of effective programs through a quality improvement strategy. Today's masterclass definitely comes under that umbrella. Globally, out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survival is tragically and unacceptably low, ranging between 0.5 and 16.3% for all events. And often, on reflection as well, these events can happen at family gatherings and in circumstances where they become just the most tragic of memories for people in our community. So anything we can do to improve the survival rate and the outcomes of these people is super important. In Australia, the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survival rate is less than 11% for all EMS-treated events. While it's widely acknowledged that bystander CPR and early defibrillation increases the likelihood of survival, the SA ambulance service still highlights some concerns. I am so hot. Is anyone else hot in here? I'm going to end up in my underwear by the end, I'm so sorry. The Cardiac Arrest Registry for SAS indicates that for all the cardiac arrests attended by SAS, only 67% of bystander witnessed events received bystander CPR. Quite concerning when you consider the effort that is being made for education and the number of people that do perform CPR. Do undertake training for the CPR. We know the delivery of any one of the life-preserving measures in the chain of survival will help the outcome. However, literature shows that it actually takes a system to save a life, and improvement measures delivered across the chain of survival renders the greatest likelihood for the improvement of out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survival rates. Today you'll hear a range of presentations from speakers who I'm sure will hone that focus and that commitment. Some of you may know Dr. Michael Sayre, who has shared his extensive experience and wisdom at yesterday's Resuscitation Academy and on other occasions. We're fortunate to have him here today. He's a Resuscitation Academy board member amongst many other roles. Mark Whitbread, a consultant paramedic working with the NHS in London, will also share his expertise today. I'm sure you will all learn a lot from these experiences. We're also honoured to have many of our own local experts here, leaders in the field, also addressing the masterclass, and I wish you all well with that. With that in mind, I want to take a few minutes to acknowledge the South Australian Ambulance Service, known locally as SAS. In 2016, they consolidated a number of smaller projects under the acronym HEART, Help Encourage Active Resuscitation Together program. The HEART program is a public health initiative to improve out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survival rates in South Australia by delivering a spectrum of improved measures across the survival chain. Of all the projects convened under the HEART program, two represent an important partnership between SAS and the community that it serves, and will be officially launched as part of Restart a Heart Day in October, which I'm really looking forward to. These key projects will provide CPR training to community groups across the state and a new online portal for the registration of defibrillators. And I'm sure a few of you in here have heard me talk about this with Jason Killens, and also, well, you might not have heard me talk about it with Jack Snelling because that happens behind a door, but he knows. The HEART's program Community CPR 30 project seeks to build community health and resilience through the delivery of free 30-minute awareness and training sessions to community groups that have purchased an AED. These sessions are designed to help people recognise cardiac arrest, learn hands-on CPR, hands-only CPR, and how to use an AED. To date, more than 3,000 South Australians have received CPR 30 training, and I think this type of model of training alone will make a massive impact into our survival rates if we can get that exposure broadly in the community. Initiatives such as the HEART program represent commendable efforts to realise the GRA's message and stem the cardiac arrest death toll. I'm thrilled by the support all of you are giving to this cause. The Council of Ambulance Authorities has been appointed as a secretariat for Australasia and accordingly has incorporated today's masterclass into its Congress agenda, along with the Resuscitation Academy, to begin building the foundations of the life-saving program in this part of the world. To assist with reaching as many communities as possible, the GRA will also have 4 secretariats to oversee initiatives across the world. Before I close, I want to acknowledge the national launch later today of Restart a Heart Day. This is a fitting conclusion to the masterclass and I'm sure you'll get behind it. I'll leave it to David Waters to explain the full story. For now, thank you for having me here. I'm now going to go and run around outside absolutely unclothed and cool down in the environment that I've actually dressed for, which is the cold air outside. I am sorry to run because I would have a wonderful time staying here today and hearing your stories and your journey, but I wish you well and I thank you for all the work you do.